For the scope, I think we can just begin with a cylinder. So I'll hit Shift A and let's create a cylinder. This one probably only needs 12 sides. And let's go ahead and make a triangle fan for the caps. I'll scale it down quite a bit. Rotate it around the X. And let's see if we can get this in place now. I don't think I need the image of the gun here anymore, at least for now. I'll go ahead and in the background images here, I'll just uncheck this and turn that off. Now I'll just move this up here and let's begin from the back of the scope here and try and extrude this to match our high poly object. I'll tab into edit mode. Let's go ahead and go to face mode and I'll grab these faces here and let's just begin moving this straight back. I'll just hit E and Y, move it back a bit and scale, E, Y, and just do this all the way forward, matching the basic shape of the high poly object. And I'm just scaling up and extruding in the Y. That's all I'm doing. Scaling down, maybe to right about here. And I'll just go ahead and extrude straight forward clear to here. For now, we'll pick up these cylinders here in just a bit. I'll extrude again and scale out. Now at this point we come to this angled piece, and what I'll do is I'll just extrude a little bit like this and scale in to catch this little rim here. Something like that. And now I need to do pretty much the same thing we did when we first created this. Is just, I'm going to take this out here and I'll go ahead and, I don't know, scale in the Z for now and rotate it and kind of bring it like this. And then I'll just bring this back and try and fit it into place. Looks like it needs to come up some. And rotate. So there I've got the general shape of it, or the general angle of it. Let's tumble around and see how we're doing here. I'm going to take this low poly object to the third layer with M and 3. And let's just take a look at it here. So that looks pretty good. I think that's going to work okay. Let's go back and let's keep going here. And I think what I'll do is just extrude and pull in the Y. And I'll scale out a bit like so. And once again, E, click, and drag in the Y again. Or we can always just press E, Y, and push out in the Y like that. And I'll scale back down. Let's see if we can get this into place. And maybe rotate it a little bit better there. All right, let's take a look at it. I'll go back to layer 3. And I just want to see the basic structure here. It doesn't look like we have any overlapping vertices, which is good. That's kind of one of the things I was worried about there. Let's go back to our side view, bring back layer 2. And for this up here, looks like we just need another cylinder. So I'll press Shift A and let's create a new cylinder. It should keep the same settings as we had before, 12 sides, triangle fan, and that's good. That's what we want. I'll rotate it around the X, and I don't think I'm going to need these faces back here. So I'll go ahead and get rid of those. Now let's scale it down and put it in place. This time I've deleted these faces back here, so what let's do is go to vertex mode and I'll just border select those, and then let's move this back to here and basically do the same thing. E, Y, move forward or back toward the back of the scope and scale up. I'll scale it in right here to catch this kind of ridge right there, and then move this all the way back. Let's take this to the third layer as well with M and 3, and let's just take a look at that. So there is the basis of the low poly version of our scope. We now need to pick up these cylinders here. let's do that. What we can do is insert a few edge loops here to block out the cylinder. Let me go back to that side view and let's bring back our high poly object. And what I want to do is just insert edge loops, maybe one right here, let's say, one on this side, and we're going to need one right down the middle of those two as well. Alright, so now we have enough faces to delete and insert our cylinder. So I think what I'll do is delete these faces here, and I'll put the cursor in the center of that hole right there with Shift S and cursor to selected. And now we want to create a new cylinder here. We've got 12 sides and a triangle fan. I think what we need is 8 sides so we can fit it into that 8-sided hole. I will rotate it around the Y. I'll scale it down quite a bit. And it looks like we don't need these faces over here, so I'll just grab these and get rid of those. Then let's go ahead and go back to the side view and let's get this size so it fits right in this hole. That looks pretty good actually. Let's go with that. I'll bring back the high poly version to see how big or how far in this should go. Let me bring that edge back and then we'll just bring it right over and sit it right on top of that high poly version like that. So now we know that's how far out it needs to go. I'll go back here and let's go ahead and bridge edge loops between these two. To do that I need to combine the two, so I'll select them both and press Ctrl J. And now I've got this edge selected. I'll also select this edge, and let's now press Ctrl E and bridge edge loops. There we go. So now we have the low poly knob there on that part of the scope. Let's get it over on the other side as well, and instead of creating it, what I'm going to do is just delete half and then mirror it over. So I'll press Alt and click this edge, Alt Shift and click that edge, and I'll press Ctrl E and I'll split the object at that edge, edge split. And now I should be able to hover over one of these edges, press the L key, and it selects just that one side. I can delete it. And now let's go ahead and move the cursor into the center of the grid with Shift S, cursor to center. Just to make sure that that is in the center of the grid, the pivot point, I'll go ahead and set the origin to the 3D cursor so we know it's in the center of the grid there. I'll then add a mirror modifier and I'll choose clipping. I'll apply that mirror modifier and then let's work on this thing right up here, the knob on the top. So I'll grab those faces, delete them, and let's just select this piece here, and then I'll press Ctrl plus to expand that selection. And let's just duplicate it. I'll move it up a bit. I'll rotate it around the Y. Oh, let's do RY -90. There we go. That helps. And then I'll put it in place right where the high poly version is. Let's bring that back. And if we tab into edit mode, I can bring that right up here. There we go. So now I can grab this. I'll maybe move this edge down just a bit. I don't need it that far away like that. And then let's also select this edge, Ctrl E, bridge edge loops. And there we go. In the next video, let's work on the base of the scope here.